bottom, laying on my back, staring up toward the surface. All I could see were varying shades of darkness. It was as if the world had been painted in black and gray, devoid of the vibrant marine life that usually captivated my attention. I tried to remember the reason for this dive, the purpose that had led me into this eerie underwater realm, but my mind drew a blank. A growing sense of dread settled in as I realized that I had no memory of how I got here. I couldn't recall the moments before I descended into the deep, couldn't remember getting into the water, or even why I was here. It was as though a chunk of my life had been mercilessly ripped away. Panic gripped me as I attempted to will my body to stand up, but to my horror, I realized I couldn't move. My limbs felt like they were encased in cement, my muscles utterly unresponsive. My heart pounded in my chest as I grappled with the terrifying notion that I had lost control of my own body. Over the radio, voices crackled with concern and confusion. They sounded distant and distorted, like they were speaking from another world. How long had I been down here? How long had I been missing? Then, a voice on the radio spoke, trembling with fear and disbelief.
"They have him,"
the voice said, the words barely comprehensible over the static. A chilling sensation coursed through me as I attempted to shout out, to assure them that I was still here, but I couldn't even do that. My voice was trapped in my paralyzed body, unable to escape. Time passed in a blur, and the voices on the radio came alive with frantic communication. Panic consumed me as I lay there, helpless and trapped in the abyss. It was then that I noticed a shadow growing clear in the darkness. It was moving toward me, creeping slowly through the water like some nightmarish, otherworldly presence. "Help! I found him!" the voice on the radio shouted. They reached down and grabbed my harness, preparing to drag me back to the surface. As they pulled me, I rolled over, and for a brief, heart-stopping moment, I got a glimpse of my surroundings. I had been laying in a pile of human bones. The skeletal remains surrounded me, a macabre carpet of death in the deep. Hollow eye sockets stared at me, their bony fingers reaching out as if to pull me into their cold embrace. The water around me seemed to thicken with the weight of countless lost souls. My screams of terror remained trapped within me as they yanked me away from the nightmarish scene. The journey back to the surface was a blur of terror and confusion, and when we finally breached the water, I gasped for air, grateful for the return of control over my body. But the horror of that underwater graveyard haunted my dreams for years to come. I could never shake the feeling that something malevolent lurked in the depths, waiting to ensnare unsuspecting souls like me. And I was left with a mind forever tormented by the enigmatic terror of that fateful dive into the abyss. The deep-sea research vessel creaked and groaned as it descended into the uncharted abyss, far away from the familiar world of sunlight and life. I was a marine biologist on a mission to explore the mysteries of the Mariana Trench. As we ventured deeper into the icy darkness, the crushing weight of the ocean above pressed in on me, and the inky blackness outside the submersible's tiny window seemed to close in like a tomb. The sub's lights pierced the gloom, revealing eerie phosphorescent organisms that drifted by like ghostly apparitions. But it was what lay beyond the reach of our feeble illumination that filled me with a growing sense of anxiety. We were searching for signs of life, and what we found was a colossal, ancient horror. It emerged from the shadows like a creature of the abyss. A massive, writhing tangle of tentacles, each thicker than a tree trunk, extended from the abyssal depths. The creature's eyes, if you could call them that, were nothing but two glowing orbs of malevolence that pierced the darkness like fiery embers. As it approached, the water seemed to grow colder, and a terrible feeling of discomfort washed over me. Our submersible's lights flickered and dimmed as we neared the monstrosity. Panic set in as I realized we were losing control. The instruments malfunctioned, and the radio crackled with static. We were isolated, ensnared in the grip of the abyss with this abomination. The creature's tentacles reached out, and I could hear the metal of our submersible groaning under the pressure. It was as though the very ocean itself had come to life to claim us, to drag us into the black abyss from which there might be no return. In those dire moments, as darkness threatened to engulf us. I couldn't help but wonder what other horrors lurked in the deep, waiting for their chance to rise and terrorize the world above. My fellow crew members, with nerves of steel, worked tirelessly to regain control of the submersible. The malfunctioning instruments sprang back to life, and the radio crackled with a renewed connection to the surface. With newfound determination, we managed to retreat from the clutches of the abyssal horror. The colossal creature slowly receded into the shadows, its malevolent gaze never leaving us. It was as if the ancient being had decided to grant us a reprieve, allowing us to escape its nightmarish domain. We ascended rapidly, leaving the depths behind, and as the first rays of sunlight broke through the surface of the ocean, we knew we had escaped the abyss's clutches. But the memory of that ancient, colossal being and the horrors of the deep would forever haunt our dreams, a reminder that there were still secrets lurking in the uncharted depths, waiting for those brave enough or foolish enough to seek them out. I was a seasoned marine explorer, driven by an insatiable curiosity to uncover the ocean's darkest secrets. This expedition had taken me deeper than ever before, far beyond the reach of sunlight, and into a realm where the terrors of the deep lurked. As our submersible descended into the crushing depths, the pressure outside threatened to crush us like tin cans. My heart pounded, not just from the anticipation of discovery, but from the palpable fear that hung in the air. My crew and I knew we were venturing into uncharted territory, a place where ancient horrors lay in wait. The sub's dim lights cast feeble beams that danced on the murky water, revealing eerie creatures with bizarre deformities. Many had evolved to survive in this lightless realm, their alien forms sending an unsettling chill through me. But it wasn't the creatures that filled me with fear. It was what we stumbled upon in the deepest trench of the abyss. As our submersible touched down on the trench's floor, we saw it, a massive obsidian monolith rising from the silt. My heart sank as I gazed upon the colossal structure. It was no natural formation. It bore the unmistakable marks of intelligence. Ancient symbols etched into its surface hinted at an unknown civilization, one that had vanished into the depths eons ago. We couldn't resist the urge to investigate further. The sub's mechanical arms reached out to touch the monolith. As our instruments made contact, the world around us seemed to shift. Reality itself became perplexing, and the boundary between dream and reality blurred. Suddenly, we found ourselves in a surreal underwater city, the remnants of an ancient civilization that defied comprehension. Twisted spires and unsettling statues loomed in the distance, their eerie forms obscured by a thick greenish haze that clung to everything. It was as if the very fabric of time and space had unraveled, and we were trapped in a realm where past and present collided. Ghostly whispers filled our headsets, unintelligible and haunting. As we moved deeper into the city, our crew members began to vanish one by one. One moment they were there, and the next, they were swallowed by the eerie mist, leaving behind only their haunting screams echoing in my ears. I tried to turn back, to escape this otherworldly nightmare, but the submersible refused to respond. It was as if we were prisoners in this accursed realm. My grip tightened on the controls, and my knuckles turned white as I fought to maintain my sanity. As we ventured further into the enigmatic abyss, the boundaries of reality continued to blur, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were trespassing in a place forbidden to humanity. I longed for the surface, for the world of daylight and familiarity, but the deep sea held us captive, unwilling to release its secrets. As we finally ascended toward the surface, I couldn't help but wonder if we had glimpsed the true horrors that lay hidden beneath the waves, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to stumble upon their secrets.